she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind. Oh.
So awesome. So hello, everybody. Welcome. It's very nice to see you, T. Hello.
Hi. Nice to meet all of you.
We have really enjoyed having a chat about your book. It's one of those that, like, whenever someone was reading it, there would be a litany of just those present covered spoiler tag messages over and over and over and over. And then the next person would do it. And then the next person would do it. And it was just like, oh my God. So we had a really, really fun time. And from my own personal experience, all of a sudden I'm seeing T. Harlowe everywhere. I'm seeing, like, your newsletter that I'm a part of now, and that you're going to be all these conventions coming up, and that you have so many books and so much in this world, which is really amazing. So then it all reminded me of when I first reached out to you, and you're like, do you want the first? And you weren't really sure which one out of all of your books. But I'm really, really grateful we started with the first one, because now quite a few of us are ready to take on all of them because we really loved it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Bethany, you raised your hand. Was that like an agreement? Raise your hand.
Something.
Maybe there's a child nearby. But it's been really awesome, especially because so many of us are Disney fans, kind of seeing like the little Easter eggs that you have in your book. And okay. And I thought that it was one of those that all of us agreed that it was really funny. It was a lot lighter. It was like one of those books that we just needed right now. Mm-hmm. Everything's so dark and so dreary and so broody. And every one of us is like, this is actually really funny. First page. We just really, really enjoyed it. And it was like an easy read in the sense that it wasn't complex, because I think there was a lot of layers to it, but just like a really fun read that all of us really enjoyed. So one of the things we always like to make sure we ask, and I'm sure you get this question often, is what was your inspiration? How did you come across this? Was this one of those things that's been in your brain for a long time? Like, how did all of this come about for you?
I mean, I've always loved Disney. So like growing up, Disney was one of my favorite just movies. I would just watch, Little Mermaid, all of them. I loved it. And I went to college and I got my degree in screenwriting. And I was in LA. And so like my dream was to write for Disney. I wanted to write Disney movies. And so I wrote a screenplay while I was in college, and it was about a thief who steals a mirror. And it was like a whole like Disney type screenplay. And like my dream, I was like, I want Disney to pick this up. I mean, spoiler, they didn't pick it up. But that was really how it started, was with that screenplay. And I mean, the screenplay was so different than the book. It was meant for like kids. So it was a very like Disney-fied like version of the story, and very like G-rated or PG-rated or whatever. But that was really how it started. And then it was years later, and I was in Kansas City now with my husband, and he was reading the screenplay, and he was like, you need to turn this into a book. And I was just like, I don't know how to write books. I got my degree in screenwriting, not in like book writing, novel writing. But he just kind of like planted that seed in my brain. And so eventually I started working on it. Went through tons of different versions. I wrote like the original first version, like way back in 2017. And then I kind of shelved it, wrote a ton of other stuff. And then when I officially decided I wanted to write fantasy romance, I just like knew I wanted to write that story again, because it's been with me for such a long time. And it has been like such a dream of mine to like see that story come to life. Like I wanted it to be a Disney movie. And then, I wrote it for Trad Pub, which is a totally different thing. So this was kind of like my way of finally being able to like put it out in the world. And yeah, it's exactly, I meant for it to be exactly what you said. I meant for it to be like, I wanted like lighthearted, like joy. There is like some darkness, but I try and always like balance it with joy and lightheartedness. And that's just like what I do. I have a hard time going dark. So I just like to kind of like have the humor and things like that, and like give those same feelings that you feel when you watch like a Disney movie, basically. There's like sad moments, but there's always like levity with it. And I kind of feel like that's how I write as well.
Which I think is why a lot of us are excited to continue, because your writing is so unique in that it's funny and lighthearted, but still tackles the stuff we're familiar with, the romantasy. And then I think in this one, you've planted quite a few seeds for the next book, which I can kind of assume I know what it is. It feels like a Peter Pan-y kind of Captain Hook vibe. And to me, I'm just so excited to start it. I haven't yet, but I really want to. And I know quite a few of us are planning on doing it together.
Right here.
Yes, that one.
Yep.
Your covers are gorgeous. Oh my gosh, they're so good.
I'm so lucky I found my cover designer. She's brilliant. And yeah, it's all her. I mean, she's amazing.
Really, they like really stand out. They're super pretty and bright. I really, really like them. Yeah, I would have started it too if I didn't have other options, other people to help out and stuff. But I know you've written a lot of books, and there's a lot in this particular series. But I just thought, wow, this is so. I love this kind of experience where you've been at it for a bit. You have a lot of books that are out, but then a group like us comes along where we're starting brand new and we're doing this all over again. So it's like it's never really over. And I think that's so cool when you have all of these and such a big fan base like you do. Kind of revolving door of it's always new and fresh.
I know it's really cool. Like it is kind of odd, like for me, because Mirror of Malice came out like last January, which I mean, that doesn't seem that long ago, but like now I just finished writing, book 5, the final book. I just finished writing the final book in the series and like finished revising it. It's, set to come out in January. And so like, it is like a little weird, like going back and talking about Mirror of Malice, because you do kind of like feel sometimes like once you're finished writing something, it's over and it's done and like you're moving on, but other people are just starting to like experience it. So, I mean, but it's a very cool thing. Like, it's not a negative thing. It's nice to be able to like go back and know that, it doesn't really end for other people.
No,
that is nice.
So cool, because I know, especially being indie, it's tricky. I mean, gosh, you have so many. I didn't realize it hadn't even been quite 2 years that you've had so many books.
That's incredible.
I'm just a writer. Everyone's different. I mean, every writer is different, but like I've always been this way. I've been writing since 2017, and I have I have over 20 books, not that I've published, but that I've written. I'm just a fast writer. But I mean, there are other indie authors like me. There are like some of us are just prolific in that way, that we write fast, and that's just that's like my process. I could not slow down if I wanted to. It's when I start writing, I just want to like that's all I want to do, and I just want to get the draft out and write. And that's just kind of like my specialty. Everyone has different, areas of strength, things like that, but I'm a fast writer.
So does it mean you're like a pantser? You're not quite a plotter?
No, I am a plotter. It's like while I'm writing one book, I'll be thinking about the next book, and I've kind of realized over the last 2 years that my method really is that I need to have a month or two to like think about a book. And so it's perfect. So while I'm drafting one book, then when I'm not drafting it, I'll be like thinking about the next book. And that's kind of like where I start plotting it out in my mind. And I do like have like a plot that I write out and everything. And I like to, get to know the characters really well and deep dive into like their wounds and all that good stuff. Like these are all things that like I just need to know before I start writing. So I think I will be always thinking about like the next book while I'm writing the current book. And that's kind of my process. And that kind of allows me to like get a good outline in my head and really like get it down before I start writing. So I am a plotter, but I kind of do it in my head, a lot of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's quite a multitasking brain.
Yeah, I don't know. That is me. I just like, I feel good when I can, like, I go on walks every day and I feel good when I'm like thinking about my book, because I'm like, I am exercising and I'm working. Like, this is great. I'm so weird. My husband's like, you're weird. Just enjoy your walk. Like, work your walk.
I know the rest of us call that productivity anxiety. That's amazing. I operate that way too. I don't turn my brain off.
No.
Exactly.
I have little notes like next to my bed from when I'm like in the middle of the night of stuff where I write it down because I know I'm not going to maintain it or retain it in any way. And I have random stuff in my phone and all. Yeah, I totally understand that of not being able to turn the brain off, but it feels creative and it feels good.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sorry if you're hearing my children screaming. That would be.
You're bound to hear mine as well. They're watching SpongeBob and it's very loud. That's what I hear. Enriching their brains.
I think my husband put on a show for them. They're watching Paw Patrol or something. So
Yeah, also enriching.
yeah.
All good things. All good things. I think one of the things that I thought was really unique about Mirror of Malice that I really, after I was finished and I sat down and I really thought about it, was that the Queen and the other retellings, I only read one or two, and then I've seen 1,000 retelling of movies. The Queen doesn't play a super huge role. And I liked that better. It wasn't until it was done that I was like, I really don't. She showed up like a little bit. She was talked about a little bit. She was at the end a little bit. But I preferred that she was kind of off page and that you got to just see her in her element outside of having the evil queen. And I really, really enjoyed that part. So what made you have that kind of conscious decision to make the story more focused on the romance and the fantasy in the world versus having the villain at the forefront like the other movies and things do?
I mean, like romance is my favorite part of any story. Like I'm just one of those people that I typically, if a story doesn't have romance, I'm not going to read it. So like I knew when I wrote, and there's different types of like romantasy, you know, where the plot is more at the forefront, or sometimes the romance is more, sometimes they're like balanced well. And I feel like I like to typically have just like maybe a little more romance. So I just knew that I wanted this to be focused on the romance. And like in previous versions that I had written of this, I did have like, I had like multiple POVs, and I had her, the evil queen's POV in the book, throughout the book. But for this one, I just thought it was a little bit stronger without it. And so we could like focus more on Lilith, I guess, and her journey and her growth. And the queen's POV just felt like it kind of detracted more from that than anything. So yeah, I just decided to kind of like do away with that. And I mean, I think it maybe in my mind, it added a little bit more like mystery and like build up for when we finally did like see her in the
Absolutely.
end. So,
I think that's the part that I enjoyed the most about it, was that it didn't take away from, and I was going to call her Lilith.
It's such a, I don't know why I named her that. I just like, it popped in my head. I was like, Lilith, that's her name. But like, I don't think anyone can pronounce it. I probably need like all the other names in the series are very easy to pronounce, but that's like the one that people always get wrong.
Well, I kept calling her Lily Pad in my head because that was the one I think we heard the most, which I love that comparison between her and the lilies, and my pen named her that way.
Yeah.
Also, I think one of my favorite parts was Sir Stallion. It's awesome.
I was like, is this too far? Is this like rom-com for fantasy romance, which is like very serious? And I'm like, like that's like something I would read in like a contemporary, like a rom-com.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, well, like it. I'm gonna put it there.
That was great.
Doesn't it kind of feed into how he's like an egotistical brat? Like he's being called Sir Stallion. And even though Pen's knocked out, I could hear him like.
Yeah, I have to ask myself that question constantly. Like as I'm writing this series, especially with Driscoll, who's become like a fan favorite, and he's in all the books, and everyone loves him. And I always have to be like, is this too far? Or that my answer? No, never.
Has anyone made connections between this book and the movie Mirror Mirror to you?
No, I don't even think I've seen that movie. Is that? I don't know what that is. I mean, I know it's a retelling, obviously, of Snow White.
It's a Snow White retelling with Julia Roberts and Lily Collins.
Okay.
I pictured her the entire book, but it might be because I love that movie. That is one of my favorite Snow White retellings because it's funny, like your book, and it's really lighthearted, like your book, and it has so many twists on Snow White, like your book does, and so I couldn't get her out of my head, but I didn't know if anyone else had spoken to you about that before.
No.
It's not the same story by any means,
Right.
but just that she also escapes and kind of has her merry men, her band of not quite thieves, but it's just like that same kind of vibe. And so we spoke about it a little bit, but definitely watch it.
I am going to watch it. Yeah.
Get those same kind of vibes. It's like Snow White, but glammed up big time.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Like her sleeves are like this stag on all her dresses. But it's fabulous. It's really, really good. And I really like that it was so lighthearted. So tie those worlds together for me. I was like, oh, I love this. This is really great.
Ooh, I like Lily Collins too, so that's like right up my alley.
I just want to be her for a day and wear all of her clothes.
I know. For Emily in Paris, that's like the dream.
Oh, whenever I watch that show, I just think how uncomfortable she must be all the time.
I know. Well, that too. I'm like, this is like my wardrobe, like daily.
This isn't even really a bra. Like, I really don't want to wear what she's wearing every day.
Yeah, nice, the reality would probably be, especially if I'm in Paris, like I want to be comfy. I'm going to be walking a lot.
Yeah, you're right. Well, see, that's not what a Parisian would do. They wouldn't explore their city. I also really liked that you had, and I love when books do this. So I don't know, please tell me if the rest of your books kind of do this, but I love when you come up with your own quips and your own sayings in the world. So like Blood and Earth and Good Green Earth, that they have these like, and I love that you bring us in that much more into like a fantasy realm. And so do you keep doing that in the other books as well? Good.
Yeah. Yep. They all have that. So I feel like that's like a fantasy thing. Like as I've read other fantasy books, I'm like, I feel like, because I don't know, and especially if you have different religions and stuff, like they can't be like, oh God, because it's like there are no gods. So like what do you say? Like, you know, that's you know, hell. There is no hell. So like I can't have them say that. So like you have to.
It does kind of take you out of it, right? When they're like, I did read a book where someone said, no judgment on this, but someone did say that they yeeted out the window. Right. Let me read that again. It was, the mermaid got yeeted out the window.
That is like a modern, and sometimes I can kind of be a little modern sometimes with my characters and like the way they speak, but that's just the way I write. And I know that isn't for everyone, but I think one of my characters used the word schmuck or something, which I knew, like I was fully aware I was using that word. I was like, I know I'm using this word and I know this is like not a word that should exist in this realm, but like I want to use it, so I'm going to. But then like a reviewer did like say something, they're like, that shouldn't exist in that world. I was like, you're right, that's fair. I know.
Do you like look up on the thesaurus like schmuck and like really just fits right? No big deal.
I couldn't find a synonym for that, so I just
right. Like I can't think of anything that embodies the word schmuck. Like schmuck.
Exactly.
Great word.
It is.
There's so many good words that are cultural that I don't know. Bring them in your stories. That's part of who you are. It is whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sorry someone reviewed it poorly based on your schmuck.
No, I mean, I didn't care. It was fine. I just thought it was funny. I was like, I'm fully aware that this is going to make some people upset. This like one word. I'm going to do it anyways.
Well, I know that you spoke to having written 20 books or a lot of books, just a lot of books. And so for me, I was like, ooh, okay, if this is your first book or this is your first published book, something that you wanted to share, you made Penn very dreamy. And definitely not to trope in any way, but like that's the kind of man all of us want to read about.
Yes.
And so I was like, is this your favorite man?
It's the kind of man I've read about. Yeah, I mean, I love like, I don't even know. I think when I was planning this series, I wanted to hit like similar tropes with each book, but like also like different ones, because every book is about a different couple. So like I needed to like distinguish, you know, so like Penn to me was kind of like he seems kind of morally gray, but like really, you know, he's like done things for like a good reason. And I definitely like those types of heroes, but I feel like, I don't know, you need like variety. For me, I need variety. So I like all the different types that I've written about. Like, you know, the second book, Bastion is like the pirate lord. And I mean, he's like really more morally gray than like Penn is. And then like you go in the third book and you have more of like a cinnamon roll type. And then like the fourth book is more of like an adventure type MMC. So I just like variety, but I feel like I like to explore like all the different types, if that makes sense, so I don't get bored and so readers don't get bored like trying to read like the same.
I just wondered, why did you pick Penn's type for your first one? Because to me that speaks to I like that one best. I know that one the most, so I will write that one in my first one. No,
He was who I just had in the screenplay. Like that was who I had. He was a thief, and he had like these like rough kind of edges, and was kind of just, yeah, I guess I do like that. I was thinking a lot of like The Witcher and things like that, like very like gruff, and
you hit it on the head, because I was going to say, so who else fan cast him as Geralt?
yeah, like that's who I was thinking about. Like that's who, and I mean, it might have just been also. I mean, he wasn't he was close to the screenplay version I wrote, but like I was in the middle of like watching The Witcher, like plotting this, so that might have influenced it too, with like the blonde hair and like everything about Penn basically might have been connected to The Witcher.
Well, nobody's mad about that.
Oh my gosh, The Witcher. There is, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else needs to be said about him?
No. If anyone is like, why? You're like, why are you asking? You don't get it. We can be friends. Yes, I understand.
I do think that's a really fun type to write. And I don't think Goliath is necessarily like sunshine. So I don't know if I could call it like grumpy sunshine.
Right.
I think grumpy is fun.
But he's grumpy.
Yeah, you can just have a lot of fun with grumpy. And so, and again, I like comedy, and I like banter, and I like lightheartedness. And so I think that also plays into it. Like I try and pick heroes that I can just have fun with. Like it's hard for me to go super dark again and like super morally gray, like full on, because I don't know how to like insert lightheartedness into that type of thing. Whereas I feel like with Grumpy and with Penn's like personality, I could have like fun with it, and I could, and it could have a lot of like banter too, which I like banter. So
it like develops him and their relationship that, oh, he's only doing this now that you're around. He's grumpy all the time, but now that Goliath is here, all of a sudden he wants to dance and he wants to do these things. Where I love me a summer festival, autumn festival moment where everyone has to get together and start dancing, and all of a sudden we have to start touching, and all of a sudden I'm like, it's perfect.
yeah,
So when we got to that part, I was like,
yeah, tension building, all that good stuff.
love it. And when he's like, do you want to dance? I was like, yes, she does. Yes, she does. I thought their relationship was amazing. And I love that they got their moment at the ocean court. They got to have their cave, their cavern. And like, I just thought the book was all those romantic-y blueprint things that I love the most, all put together in a book that I knew I was going to love. And I really, really did. I thought it was so great. So does anyone else have questions for T, or anything you wanted to talk about regarding this, or questions about, I think you have a short story novella that's connected to your newsletter that's going to start soon.
So that's Echo of Embers. That's like a prequel novella. You can get it for free if you subscribe to my newsletter. It's set in the fire court, and I think it's mentioned. I mean, like Princess Seraphina mentioned in Mirror of Malice. So it's her story about like it's Sleeping Beauty. So it's her curse and everything. And yeah, just like a quick short novella, quick read, but it's going away January 15th. So, but I'm going to release it. So it will be released.
Okay.
And onto Amazon in 2025 at some point. But yeah.
So does anyone
I do have a question. Yeah. I know they're obviously all standalones, which is great. Love that. But are there any of the characters, like, are they seen in any of the other stories, or are they just solely on the new characters each book?
Yeah, so it's actually funny because I was planning on just doing like new characters each book, not continuing, but people love, and the Driscoll I feel like is not even in this book that much, but like
yeah, well that's why I wanted to ask, because I loved all of the side characters in the first book, and I was like, oh no, I hope like it doesn't just stop.
Yeah, no, readers love Driscoll so much that they just responded to him so strongly and loved him so much that I decided he was going to be in all the books. So Driscoll kind of gets to like journey. He has his own kind of like big arc that will start developing as you get into like later books. But him and Leonie, which they kind of make like an odd pair, but they end up going through all the books in the series. So you'll see those two side characters, and then you do get like some mention, like, yeah, I guess like in the next book you'll see Penn and Liliath again, and like you get glimpses of the past couples in the future books, but they're definitely not like in the forefront. But Driscoll and Leonie are in the rest of the series, and yeah, Driscoll is as snarky as ever, so
That's the reason why everyone loves him.
yeah, it's whatever is on his mind.
I really love that because I'm excited to get through them all. They will take me some time, but I am really, really excited to be able to see them go through all the books than having had the first one.
Yeah, I mean, because I do write fast, like I don't have that expectation that people, especially because I am writing like interconnected standalones, like my books don't end on huge cliffhangers or anything like that. You know, like some fantasy series, it ends on a huge cliffhanger. It's like, oh God, I got it. You know, so I don't like have that expectation that like people are just gonna like blow through my books, and that's okay. Come back to them like they're like the palate cleansers, I feel like. So I'm like, come back to them, like you've read the dark romantasy and like you need like a break and you need to laugh and you need like some joy and like some whimsy, and like that's when you like come back to my books.
Those cozy books are hard to find. So I feel like we've really hit like a gold mine here with getting cozy, good, like you said, not quite palate cleansers, but just like I read like a few at the same time. And so like that one will probably take my attention during the murdery scenes.
Yeah.
So we usually have you ask us questions if you have any. I know I didn't prepare you for that, and I apologize. It's just that it's just been weird. Last week.
It's okay. I understand. I don't.
But if you want to think on a question, or if you have anything we can discuss,
Are there any popular questions authors know? Like if you give me an idea, I don't know if there's any specific the authors always ask or anything like that.
Not always. We've had some authors that they wanted a little help with like social media. What is it that we look for? Where do we find new books? Like helping her with her marketing.
I didn't even think of that. That's smart.
We had another that just wanted to know our favorite breakfast food. And then she gave us all personality feedback based on what we ate for breakfast.
That's funny.
Those are the ones that stick out to me the most, probably, other than like one of them did ask, why did you like my book? So we're like, well,
yeah, I am interested did you just find me on Instagram?
How do we find you?
Yeah. Did you see me pop up or something on Instagram? Did I reach out to you or did you reach out to me? I don't even know anymore. It was a long time ago. I feel like that we set this up.
When did we start this? May?
Yeah.
We put out a reel, and I can look back.
Oh, maybe I responded to one of your.
We might have responded to one of our reels.
Maybe our first reel,
Yeah.
for authors.
That might have been it.
Or
I'm not-
somebody
nominated you.
tagged you, yeah.
Time just goes. Yeah, that might have been it too. Someone might have tagged me. I don't remember it.
I'm glad.
Reel.
Because
Me
I
too.
haven't seen any of your books or anything pop up anywhere. And yeah, if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't have read the first one.
Yeah. Well, that's so nice. It's so cool that you guys are doing this. Even like, do you do a book a month?
Oh,
Or
Well,
we had such a wonderful response back in May when we were like, hey, this sounds fun. How about we do this? Let's put a reel out and see what happens. And then we got people we had to turn away after a bit. It was just everyone wanted to do it with us. So we decided every 3 weeks we were going to do 2 authors and 2 books and just do it till the end of the year, which took care of 90% of the authors that were interested.
Right.
And so next year's going to be a little different. We have 2 a month. We're not going to stretch ourselves so thin. But we had the same process where authors nominated themselves or had readers nominate them. And we'll be making announcements about the next ones for just the first half of the year. We're trying to just do the 6 months because, of course, we had like 30-something responses. And so it's been so fun to see books we wouldn't normally pick up.
Right.
And
to like expand.
yeah.
Just like the super popular ones that you see over and over on Instagram and TikTok and things like that.
Yeah, because Instagram is not great at giving you like things that are similar to it as much as it just keeps you in your little bubble.
Right.
And the same with threads and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I think now I see you everywhere though, T. So like you are on my Instagram radar. You are on everything I'm touching now.
I'm glad I'm good. I'm glad you're seeing me. I have no way of gouging this. You know, I run Facebook ads and things like that. So that's the only intentional marketing I do is Facebook ads. So I can like look at those and I can see how well those are doing as far as like sales and things like that. But like social media and stuff, I'm like, I post and we'll see what happens.
That's how all of them do it. So that's fine. Totally fine. There really isn't a metric for sales or anything like that. You literally just hope for the best.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it is trying to like, it's like the 7 points of contact. Like that's what we're taught. It's like, you know, as authors, people need to see your book 7 times before they will decide to pick it up or buy it. So that's kind of like the goal is to like get it out there as much as you can in as many different ways as you can to get people to pick up your book. Especially if you're a new author. If you're like Sarah J. Maas, obviously someone like doesn't need to see her. But
You picked quite the example. She's like God status. But I think like those mid-ground authors that you hear about a lot and everyone's like, have you read that? Like, I understand those, like, I can think of a few off the top of my head. But I think you have so many books out that it was inevitable that we were going to be able to talk about your books and the kinds of things that you do. But like I said, you're in a cozy niche that I don't think many of us have a lot of experience with, which is really a gem.
well, and I'm going even more cozy. I'm going like full cozy for my next series. So like cozy fantasy romance. It's going to be pretty low stakes and I'm super excited. I feel like I kind of like need to like lean into that like joy and happiness. And so it's like secondary world. It's going to be romance and just like lightheartedness. And I'm just kind of like drawing inspiration from everything I love. So I'm super excited about that.
Is it kind of sad to wrap up these characters, that, especially the ones that you've had for all of your books, like
Yeah.
for them to be done?
It's bittersweet for sure. Like I just finished the revisions for the final book, Beasts of Briar, and it's like, I mean, I've been in this world for like a year and a half now and I haven't done anything else, you know? So it's like bittersweet. Like you get to a point where you're sad to leave the world, but like you also are getting excited about like what's to come. So I'm kind of I'm getting like amped up for like my next series and, you know, favorite book. Oh gosh, no, I don't have a favorite book, but I do have like some like, I feel like seminal books that I read when I was, you know, that got me into fantasy romance. So Juliet Marillier wrote Daughter of the Forest, and it was a fantasy romance that I read when I was like 14. And that's like one of my favorites. It's like Celtic inspired fantasy romance. Oh, of my own. Okay. Oh no.
No, that's I wanted to know more about that.
No, I don't know. That's so hard to pick. I like different things about all the books I write, so it's hard to pick. I think Ship of Shadows is really fun. I like the Pirate Lord. Like he was just really fun to write, and I don't know. There's something about pirates, you know. And I like modeled him after. I don't know if any of you watched Once Upon a Time, and you, Killian. Yeah, he's like 100% Killian from Once Upon a Time, and so of course I just had so much fun writing that. So, and I like the ocean setting, and Little Mermaid was like one of my favorite fairy tales growing up. So it's like a mishmash of Little Mermaid and Peter Pan. So yeah, I don't know. It was just it's not my favorite, but I like that one.
That's so interesting. I've made a friend that literally all she reads is pirate stuff, and I was like, "Hey, have you heard of this?" I don't know how many pirate books are in the world for her, but she's like, "I'm reading that now." I just started it. She's like, "Pirates all the way," and pirates are so her jam. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I get sick of it eventually. Maybe not, but that's awesome. There's a lot of pirate books out there, so go for it.
These last few months, I've started to read like more retellings and stuff, and I feel like it's my new jam. I've really enjoyed reading retellings of things, and they're just really great.
Yeah, It's fun to write too. It's just fun to take like a classic story and figure out how you can twist it, but still like pay homage to it, you know, and like have those like Easter eggs, like the things that you loved about it, but be able to like make it your own. So I love retellings too. Obviously, I like reading them too.
I think retellings are great. I'm with you, Bethany, on that one. That like all of a sudden, I'm kind of I'd rather go into the familiar a little bit than some of the other things that I've been reading. That are, I don't know. I don't need everything to be crazy unique. You don't have to develop some insane world for me to really enjoy it. I think the banter is really special with your books, and I really go for banter. That's my favorite. Characters feel genuine.
Thank you. Yeah, I love banter too. It's one of my favorite things. It keeps like the lightheartedness that I'm usually after, so that's why I like it so much.
There's no more needles for our giveaway. Apologize.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about the giveaway.
Yes, we do have a giveaway, which I did, Laura. I did get my box and finally open it. I've had it for about 2 months, but I finally opened it. And that candle is fabulous.
Yeah. Oh,
In our PR box, we have a candle from Apothecary 19, I think it is. And I just don't really love candles, but that one is almost gone. And I'm absolutely love it. So good.
Is it like a generic scent or?
No, mine is called Enemies to Lovers. And it's like
Gosh.
like the mixture of smells are kind of unique. It's not just Bath and Body Works stuff. It's like sandal, it's like a citrus and a leather. I don't know. It's awesome.
She has like a bunch of different, like at least 4 scents usually mixed.
Yeah, there's quite a few different. I love it. I'm ready to go buy more.
She has book trope ones, and she also has licensed ones. So she has like a Sarah J. Maas collection. She has a Legends of
Ellen Sure, is that one?
Yeah, something I can't say that. She has like 2 other ones. She just got new licensing, but they're all amazing.
Is she on Etsy?
She has her own site.
Oh, okay.
Apothecary 19.
Okay. I have to check that out. That sounds really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a candle gal. I just don't really love like super strong smells, and that one is just blowing my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's getting it for Christmas.
I've been putting it on my candle warmer so that it doesn't go away.
That's smart.
No longer.
So I see that Brooke did 1 and 2. So I took 2, Brooke, from you. And then I see that Nadia and Bethany both have 3. But Bethany then changed it to 4. Okay, we're good. All right.
Okay. All right. So
that's all right. We're going to win double bad. That's no big deal.
For this box, we have here we go. A mug. This was by Book Babes Co. And it says morally gray is my favorite color. Which is very true. We have a custom bookmark. Let me get it so you can see. And this is by what does it say on here? Yes, Reading with Reese. You can see the little mirror charm.
Oh, how cute!
It's gorgeous. If you know what the cover of the book looks like, it is all the colors of the book.
That's
so
so
it looks
cute.
beautiful with it. And then we have a signed book by Tim P.
Thank you, T.
Thank you so much for that. We have some stickers and a bookmark. She also sent as well. And then we are going to have some custom beaded bracelets from Spicy Sunday Morning. Those are in the mail, but because of the holiday, they're running a little bit late. But she makes them based on little quotes from the book. So they're actually going to have 3 little separate quotes from the book. So really excited about that.
Oh,
They're so cute.
Our winner is number 1. That is Brooke.
Yay, Brooke!
Yay!
So T, tell us a little bit about what you have coming up and what you're going to be involved in and where we can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me. I'm on Instagram, TikTok. My handle's T Harlowe. I have a website. Newsletter is a good way. I send my newsletter weekly, so you can always stay up to date that way. Next, so I am gonna be revealing my next series soon. I'm taking away the reader magnet for this series, the novella, and I'm gonna be publishing a new one for my next series in February. And so I'll probably be like revealing that like pretty soon in like December or something. But I am doing like cozy fantasy romance. So if you think like The Spell Shop or like things like that, but like spicy. So spicy, cozy fantasy romance. So it's going to be, yeah. That is one of my children who has escaped my husband and is knocking out.
I don't know if you guys heard, but I heard very loud in the
4-year-old likely. Yep.
I'm here.
So that's yes. Cozy fantasy romance is where I'm going. So it's like think like The Spell Shop, but like or maybe like a Rivalry of Hearts by Tessanja Odette, that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm very excited about that, and I'll definitely be revealing more soon.
That sounds great. It's a-okay if they're there. It really doesn't bother us. If it doesn't bother you, that's fine. We will fade your screen to black if they show up. Because we do take here and we make thank you reels and then we post it on our YouTube after we look out most people's names for the most part. Although it looks like we're all good here now, Laura.
Daddy, just a minute, babe. Okay.
Is there any other questions or anything anyone would like to ask T or talk about? Oh, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about us chatting to you as we read your books?
Oh yeah, you're always welcome to. Other people have done that. They send me like Instagram DMs. I'm getting like DMs from readers, reactions as they're reading. So yeah, that's always totally cool.
Fantastic.
I just have to do a lot of like zipper emojis. Like I'm like, oh my God, is he gonna be the bad guy? And it's just like zipper emoji, zipper.
Well, thank you so much, T. It was awesome to meet you today. Thank you so much for taking time to spend with us. We are so happy to have stumbled upon you and your books.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for choosing my book and reading it. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Oh, she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind.